Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, welcome.
Episode 2.
Ooh,
Let's get it.
do-
All right. Welcome
I,
back, everyone. We really hope episode 1 was as entertaining as we found it. We personally have watched it several times ourselves. So we're hoping this is a reciprocated relationship we have here. Tony, what's been popping lately? How's
you
it
know, it's been a week. It's been a work week.
been a work
Um,
week?
Daylight savings is, she's reverting, so we get a bit more sunlight throughout the day.
Mm.
Not hating that, and yeah, super excited for this week's movie and this episode. What about you? How's your week been?
Very similar, It's, a work week.
I know. I
Um,
YK.
it was quite the week. I actually hung out with a lot of family this week. It was nice.
It's
But was
nice.
it overwhelming for shizzle nizzle? It was.
Not 200%.
But we pushed through. I actually watched, and I recommend this to everyone. I watched after a breakthrough, once you realize what's going on, when something builds, I watched a really educational YouTube video this morning.
That's
And
it
I
cool.
think that just a little nugget I want to share is, you know, the solution might not be a 5-minute video thing, but understanding the problem better is a quick fix lately in this day and age.
Mm.
So I'm pushing that into the world.
Okay, what
Even,
kind of video was that?
I'm not gonna get into it. We'll talk about it off camera.
Fair, 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 fair. But that's nice. I'm glad you had a
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, no, one thing, we all got problems. One thing about me though, I'm gonna understand them problems. I don't know if I'm gonna fix them,
She's
but
gonna
I'm
know
gonna do
her
the
problems.
research. Yeah.
She's gonna be
um,
aware
yeah,
at
no,
least.
I'm gonna do the research for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
but anywho's,
100%.
we hope that you guys are appreciating the audio quality now. We have our mics officially, and Sonia and I are actually looking at each other face to face now.
I
So we're
know.
gonna see how that changes things. Um,
I'm sure Mary's gonna love it. She has the best view, and so do I, to be
you
fair.
took the words right out of my mouth. You
Ah,
sure. Um,
Barbie, you little charmer.
I
Okay.
know, but Sonia and I also haven't seen each other in a long time in person, so
Honestly, yeah.
always a delight. So I like that we're incorporating this. At least we're looking at each other.
100%.
Um, but anywho's, let's get to so today's episode. We're gonna talk about the holdovers, but we're gonna, as per usual, start with a little game.
Yes.
So to introduce this game for us.
Okay, so it's basically a game where you quote a tagline or a quote from a movie.
Mm,
We have three questions, easy, medium, and then hard. And obviously trying to get them right. These are movies we have watched together, or at least we thought we watched together. So
that's not
I'm
true for me,
super
but
excited. You want to kick us off?
sure. But I just want to say I didn't pick ones that we strictly watched together. But like, you should know the famous movie quotes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let's me pull them up. All right. So my easy one
Okay.
is my first one
Okay.
is, and this could be too easy. This could
Okay.
be really
That's
bad if
cool.
you don't know it, but
Also, you want to take turns? Like I do
yes,
easy.
so this is round one, easy.
Okay.
So my first one is because we actually have, I don't think we've unpacked this anyways.
Okay.
The first, I
Okay.
think it's gonna be like, how dare you think I don't know this? But it's supposed to be easy. Okay, I'm thinking it. Okay, it's may the force be with you.
The thing is this Star Trek? It's Star Wars? I've never any of those movies. Is it Star Wars?
It is Star Wars.
Okay, I knew it was between the
I
two.
just want you to say, guys, get her in the comments. Get her. Anyways, please do your easy one. Girl, that was the easy round. I just want you to know that. But anyways, proceed, please.
I know it's popular. I just never got
Yes.
into it. I feel like if you have a brother, you watch it. Not saying that other
Yeah.
people have brothers too, but like I just
I feel
I
you.
don't
I
know
feel you.
stuff. Yeah.
Especially for the things that you and I typically enjoy it, I feel you. But it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
famous quote. Okay, go.
Okay, okay, cool. Um, okay, mine is you know who you are.
That's it.
I feel like there is,
Is it a song lyric?
yeah.
Is it our girl?
Yes. Bro, I was like, am I supposed to sing it?
Not include the melody. You know who you are.
Yeah. I'm like, am I allowed to sing it? I don't know. But I'm like, you can kind of tell it's Moana, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm really proud of myself for getting that without
Yeah,
you.
you ate that up.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, round two.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, okay. I feel like you actually might get the hard one and maybe not get round one and two. But okay, my second one is very famous quote. Say hello to my little friend.
Oh my God. Hey.
Huh?
Wait, isn't it Home Alone?
Who? No,
Home,
I literally can't.
Home Alone?
Nah, girl. Oh shit, no, he did say it in Home Alone. But
Okay, wait, there's another one?
that's not the OG. But I'll give you half a point.
Oh, maybe The Mask? I don't know.
Great guess.
Okay.
Wrong. I'll give you three-quarters of a point.
Okay, wait, give me like when was this film recorded?
It's a Batam old film. Actually, not Batam old. Let me not very old. It's
Watch this. What is it? The Godfather? I don't know if it's like
you're in the right area in terms of iconicness.
I don't think I know. Maybe I don't
I
recognize.
also have not watched this movie. It's just very famous.
Okay. I just know from Home Alone. That's what.
I'll give you point 0.9 out of 1. 90%.
Okay. What is it?
It's Scarface.
Oh, I've never watched that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never watched that
Any
movie. Okay.
um
Yeah.
not bad, not bad. Better than
Not
Scarface.
bad. Yeah.
That was
I'm
kind of
not angry at that. Okay. I
yeah.
think this might be easier than the first question.
Let's do it.
It's kind of a long one. Murphy's Law doesn't mean that something bad will happen. It means that whatever can happen will happen.
But that is Murphy's Law. Did
Yeah, but
somebody say that in a movie?
like it is, but it is a quote from like I feel like we definitely watched this movie together. Murphy's Law doesn't mean that something bad will happen.
Wait, is it our girl what was her the Mean Girls? Is it
No,
not Mean Girls?
no, it's not Mean Girls. No, it's like wait, are we allowed to give out hints? I can give you hints.
Yeah. Okay, so I lost the full point privilege, but okay, keep going.
Okay, sci-fi. The genre is sci-fi.
You and I watch sci-fi?
Yeah, there was one very cool sci-fi movie that I was late to the game to. Like I've never watched it, and I watched it for the first time with you and Emo.
I had
And
already seen it.
yeah, you had, yeah, yeah. And you're like, bro, this is a
Oh,
great
is
movie.
it Stranger Things?
No, it's not a show, it's a movie. It's a movie, but like esque. Like
Hmm.
it has a very popular actor. I mean, all of them are popular, but he has a popular three-word tagline, and it's the same words repeated. And it's very southern. And he's a charmer.
Is
He
it
is.
Interstellar?
Yes,
Girl, I've never seen
bro.
Interstellar.
You're lying, right? Did we
I'm
watch it
serious. You
together?
didn't watch it with me.
I watched it just with you.
Yeah, I remember you guys. I
No.
remember you guys watching it very clearly, and I always have. I've been wanting to watch it, never seen it. Maybe we'll feature on the pod one day, but I haven't seen it yet. It's actually as we speak. It's one of our viewers has recommended it to us.
Yes, it's in the
Yes.
queue. Oh wow,
So you lost
bro.
a point, not me because I
I
haven't.
did. Damn it, I'm
Technically,
back to
technically
zero.
not about what you've seen and not seen. Yeah. Because
Maybe because I watched it at Fox, I immediately was like, yeah, Mary probably watched it too. I thought we watched it together.
but again, the game is not from what we've already seen. It's just
100%, but like also it's like a
yeah.
popular movie,
So
right?
good to know. I will
Yeah.
watch it.
Definitely recommend. Wow.
I will. I definitely will. It's been on the list for a while.
100%. It's on
Okay,
Netflix for
level
viewers.
3.
Okay, pop off queen.
Okay, are you ready? I think I need to get in the zone for this one. Uh, okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be that easy. It's going to be really hard. We're going to have to work at this every day. But I want to do that because I want you.
Oh my God. It might be the notebook.
You can't make me do that and not get it.
Oh, you really did the voice. I feel like I figured it out because of the way you said it.
Okay, good.
Killed it.
So
You killed it.
I am an actress. So I'm glad
Yeah,
that
I know you liked that movie, right? You really did.
I love it. I will, and you and I will one day watch it on Broadway.
I okay. Oh, it's on Broadway.
It is on Broadway, and we will watch the musical version, and we will
Yeah,
cry.
you already know I'm down. No, I watched the movie with Mary and it didn't do anything to me. I remember you being like,
Remember that?
yeah, no, I we watched it together and I was like, this is it. Like this is the ending. Because
Don't
I
say
don't
that in public, Swally. We're gonna post this.
I know, no, 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 but like, first of all, you shut up because there are a few shows and movies we watched together, and your
You have to
reaction did not match.
forgive and forget.
She did not cry for. She actually laughed for from scratch. She literally laughed at the scene where I was like, bro, this is it. This is where it breaks me. She was like, ha, ha, ha. Like she pointed out something somebody would never in that situation, and she was laughing,
You just
and
caught
she
me in the wrong era.
And that was a year before that, a year before you watched that series. We watched Me Before You together, and that did nada. She was like, okay, like it did not crack her, which is fine, I guess. But you cannot judge me for the notebook, is all I'm saying.
Anywho's, I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, thank you. You ate it
Okay,
up.
tell me, give me your last one.
This is popular enough. Um, I also kind of put it in here because it's one of my favorite quotes, and we talked about it all the time.
Okay.
So testing our friendship here.
Oh,
Um, what are four walls anyway?
I
Yeah,
thought
you
that was from a book.
know it's from a movie. I think yeah, it's a movie.
I'm so sure you watched this by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You did,
But
right?
I did. I also think it's kind of popular, but I feel like I talked about it enough that you would remember it by now.
And this quote existed in your room, like it was on your wall or something.
Oh yeah, I wrote it all
Yeah.
down.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh, bro, I don't know. I don't remember. Can you give me a hint?
A hint, yeah, it has something to do in the title. There's a city in Italy.
It didn't do anything for me.
No, it's I don't know how I don't know if I have any more. Okay, so this lady, she moves to Italy after a weird end to her relationship with her husband.
Is it You
In a
Pray Love?
no, no,
No,
no.
but you said okay. It has an
The
Italian.
title has a city in Italy. Okay, this city is known for the pasta making classes that they have, and they have a lot of vineyards and a lot of palm trees. Um, I don't know how else to explain this city. It's not a city it is kind of like it's a city, but whenever you picture it, it's just like a lot of greenery, a lot of huge homes, but like kind of up in the mountains a bit, vineyards, making fresh pasta, not not doing anything for you. Okay, I guess I'll tell you the name. Are you
I
ready to?
want to so bad.
Okay,
What you're describing sounds incredible, but
I'm
I don't.
describing the city. It's under the Tuscan sun. Does that ring a bell?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah,
But explain to our listeners that
our
it
audience.
was a good one. It shook me.
Oh. Okay, this movie, I feel like it should be more popular than it is. It kind of changed my life. I just opened it as a background movie because I was gonna take an Italian course and I was like, oh, let me indulge. And it basically follows a woman whose husband was cheating and then they get a divorce. And so she's having this crisis and she goes on this trip to Tuscany and where she decides to purchase a home there. And I think it kind of just follows her healing journey. And this woman is well into her late 30s or 40s, if I'm not mistaken. And just like finding new friendships, like rediscovering herself and living life and starting from well, zero, I guess, and how there's still
Oh,
so much to get excited for, even, when you think you don't have time left. So there's this quote at the end of the movie, which I really love. It's called, I think the title is like, What a Surprise. And kind of like, what are four walls anyway? They are what they contain. The house protects the dreamer. Incredibly great things can happen even late in the game. And it's like this long quote that really just like got to me and it's like I think I live by it. Super cool. Highly recommend. Marinara sauce should watch it as
I'll
well.
look it up, y'all. I will.
100%.
I'll wait until I'm hopeless and I'm in some
Oh,
capacity. No, not like hopeless and like hopeless, but like when I need like
it'll
to
pick
find
me
the
up.
silver lining and things. I'll
100%.
save it for a rainy day.
Exactly. It's a
Yeah,
cozy movie.
not like hopeless. That's I
Yeah.
know bad. Yeah.
It's not a deep movie. It's like a nice chick flick. Super cool. Recommend.
Cool, 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 cool.
But with that
Très
note,
bien. Let
let's hop
us.
into the holdovers.
Okay, impressions, initial impression. No, wait, should we start with a quick um
Highlight what the movie's like.
yeah, little
Yes,
Google overview or whatever summary thing?
yes, I think that would be great.
Okay. So, wow, the vocabulary is matching the vibe of the instructor here.
That's so funny.
I don't think I can say this word. Wait, let me. Curmudgeonly. Curmudgeonly. Okay. Okay. Curmudgeonly means bad-tempered and negative. Okay, for the record.
Oh, okay.
A curmudgeonly instructor at a New England prep school remains on campus during Christmas break to babysit a handful of students with nowhere to go. And so it's these students that have nowhere to go are called the holdovers. He soon forms an unlikely bond with a brainy but damaged troublemaker, and with the school's head cook, a woman who just lost a son in the Vietnam War. So this is a 2023 movie. It is an Oscar-winning movie. The best supporting actress won. Her name is, I need to pronounce it properly. I'll do
In the
my
movie,
best.
she's in.
Divine Joy Randolph.
Oh, nice.
So Oscar-winning movie. Initial impressions, bro. I had such a great time watching this. Like, especially the second half. I was just like, I was in bed watching on my iPad. I just had a little smile across my face the entire time. I was like, this is such a cutie patootie time.
He's cute.
But it gets heavy, of course, and we'll get there. But overall, I would say it's a movie. I don't think I've ever watched a movie that was so heavy and light at the same time.
Go on that one.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
200%. It is also very much like a Christmas movie, which is
yes, it
surprising.
is. Yeah, we gotta say that. It is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Um, it's just so it can definitely be a classic. Like it's not specific or heavy enough to be like a I can only watch this when I'm in a certain mood movie. It's really it can be just like a it doesn't have to be Christmas to really dig deep
Yes, to
into it.
watch the movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say Christmas. I would say holiday because it kind of
Yes.
spans into New Year's. It's kind of like the winter break
Yeah.
for high school, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's
Break it
begin.
down. Okay.
So what did you so let's start with our esteemed professor.
Yeah.
So
Um,
played by Paul Giamatti.
okay.
He plays Professor Paul Hunnam.
Okay.
Paul is, they really went out of their way to make him seem,
Like he is inhumane, if that makes sense.
yes,
Super strict, uptight, strict rule follower, does not bend to anybody regardless of their power or like possession.
yeah,
Um, and he's a teacher at the school, right? So
yes.
he is a harsh grader. Nobody likes him, not the students, not the teachers, um, not even the headmaster, really. I don't even know what he's doing there. But yeah,
Yeah. When you start, yeah, he seems like just a very sour person. Somebody comes in, a staff member comes in, makes him a plate of Christmas cookies, and he was like just detested by the gesture. Like he was
yeah,
disgusted by the yeah, and
yeah.
he so essentially they paint this picture, and he's also, I need to make sure we use the politically correct word here. So give me a sec. Um, but they do go out of their way to, he's not also very pleasant. Like he wears very bland like
Mm,
clothing, very basic. It's also set in 1970, so 70 to
yeah,
71. That's
yeah.
really important, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a prep school, right? So it's like rich
The
kids
wealthy,
or
yeah,
those on scholarship.
yeah.
Uh,
It
Wait, I'm
is.
still looking up this term, but
Yeah, no, it's for rich kids. It's a all boys boarding school. So just boys there. These faculty, most of the kids there end up going to these Ivy Leagues or top rated schools. So obviously, their grades are important, and this professor is making it hard for them to, well, not on purpose, I guess, but he, in my opinion, is so set on not like being lenient that he became too harsh in his teachings.
for sure, for sure. Okay, so the term I'm looking for, so it says the politically correct term for wall-eyed, which is what they said in the movie, is
Mhm.
exotropia. It's a medical term for the condition where one eye turns outward, causing this quote unquote wall-eyed appearance.
Okay.
So I'm going to, yeah, he has that condition. And so just, he's almost like the idea of a kid that, he's almost like a kid that used to be bullied, then now became a teacher and is now taking out all his resentment onto the students.
100%.
Yes, yes. Okay,
Yes.
so essentially so I think that it's a boarding school, obviously, right? So that's why they're
Yeah.
holding over students. Um, so he gets stuck because obviously nobody likes him. His headmaster doesn't like him. Nobody likes him. And so he gets stuck taking care of these holdovers, even though it wasn't his like year, his turn, because they manipulated the system. And then some guy was like, "Oh, my mom is sick, and but I don't even know if she's really sick." And so they lied and all that, and so now he becomes the guy that has to hold over.
Yeah.
Let's move to the students.
Yes.
So we have none other than Mr. Tully, Angus Tully, who
Yes.
is, I would say, is the student that we really follow here.
The main character. Yeah.
Yeah. So Angus, I'm just gonna call him Mr. Tully because that's how he's referred to the whole thing.
Tully.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tully, he it starts off with he's packing, he's getting ready to go to St. Kitts with his mom, and his mom promised him that he would go to Boston at some point. We don't know why.
Yeah.
And he packs, and then he's kind of um rubbing it in the holdovers faces that he's gonna get go on this like extravagant vacation. Turns out when everyone is ready to go home and waiting to get picked up by their parents, Mr. Telly's parents never come. His mom never comes. We find
Yes.
out that she decides to go on a honeymoon with her
New husband.
husband that she's been married to for 6 months or so at that point
Yeah.
during winter break, meaning she has to leave her son at the boarding school. And he begs her. It was heartbreaking.
It
He
was, I
begs
have a
her.
whole topic with Mrs. Tully.
Yeah. Um,
They were
she,
horrible, horrible parents. I mean, just from
yeah.
what we like the way she even very unempathetic to how he's feeling, and we're later gonna, dive into, the meaning of all the whatever the destinations he wanted to go to, but
Yeah.
she's like, can you be understanding? This is the new family now, like blah, blah, like all these like
They had
things.
to wait till winter break.
Yeah, and literally
They
she told
had to wait.
the day of the pickup, she was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's not happening. I'm going on honeymoon with
Yeah,
my
and
new."
he it's not like he was informed that they're not coming. He had to be like, "Hey, where are you?"
Exactly.
Heartbreaking.
No, crazy. Anyways, I did not like her from the beginning, but continue.
Yeah, but also Mr. Tully was not
The
being
picture.
kind or he's not he's also similar to um uh our esteemed professor here.
Hmm.
He is not well liked by the students.
Yeah.
We
Oh
only
yeah.
later find out that Mr. Tully has been expelled from like three students before this.
Three schools. Yeah, three
Yeah,
boarding
before that.
schools
Expelled.
before
Yeah.
arriving at Barton. Is that the school's name?
Yes.
Barton's prep school.
Yes. And
Um,
so, yeah, he's not well liked either. And so he was being really mean to the holdovers. And then he
he's
becomes
not
one.
well liked because they're jealous of him. He's a smart mouth. Like he gets the highest grades in classes, at least from what we saw.
And he's
And
mean. You don't think he's
he's a smart mouth. I mean, like, but the kids are not necessarily nice to him, if that makes sense. Like, he's mean when someone is being mean, but then he can out mean them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can
no,
read you.
I do see what you're saying, but I still think
He is mean.
he's mean. Like
He's
I still think that he finds
I
joy. It's not just self-defense, I don't think.
defense, obviously, but also I don't think he's mean in a sense of like there is a degree of being too direct, right? Like some things you try to like sugarcoat it. Like if you're an average person, like he doesn't do stuff like that. So I think that comes out as like mean, but I don't think most of the time he's being mean. He's just being like, well, this is the reality. And yeah, like mic drop.
I disagree, but
Okay.
we're gonna keep
Anyways.
pushing, yeah. But anyways, he becomes a holdover, right? And so now, obviously nobody wants to be a holdover, let alone be a holdover with Mr. Hanam
Oh,
supervising you.
yeah.
So and he's I think one of five, or is he one of four
I
holdovers?
think it
So there are
was
several.
five, five,
Okay.
five
Yeah.
students, yeah.
And so the tension, the conflict really begins. Or actually, let's talk about Mary a little bit before we move on to the
Yes.
tension.
Yeah.
So, you want to talk about Mary?
Yeah. Mary, like Mary mentioned, it was is the head chef of the Barton School. She recently lost her son in the Vietnam War, and so she's dealing with grief, right? Like not obviously, but everyone's just like, hey, you can get through this, etc., etc. And you don't see a lot of sadness within her, at least
Yeah,
in the
very stoic, very
yeah, very like you would think it happened like
numb.
years
Yeah.
ago, not recently. So like you can't tell much, so she's also stuck with them. I think she mentions that leaving the school premises feels like she's leaving her son behind too soon.
That was
So
the last place they were together.
that was the last place they were together,
Yeah,
yes.
at the school.
So she's stuck there with all the holdovers and Mr. Paul.
Yes.
Yeah. It was weird for me to hear Mary, I have to say.
Really?
I know it's a common name, but I was like, ooh. Like every time they're like Mary, I'm like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh. But continue.
It is weird.
Yeah.
But for me, it's usually weird. Like, people might not understand this, but the way that they say it, because obviously we grew up with a lot of different accents around us.
Mm.
And the way, anyways, yeah. So sometimes, even though it's really subtle, I mean, obviously because I hear it so much,
Yeah.
I can tell the way that it's being said, and
Mm.
so yeah. Plus, obviously, this is the '70s, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
there were a lot of Marys out
You're
there
a
in the
marinara and
'70s.
not Mary, so obviously that makes a difference.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, so the also nobody likes Mary's cooking. So nobody. So these rich, mostly spoiled kids love to complain, but
They do.
also it doesn't seem like her cooking is that good anyway. So she's just prime meat for them to. They're constantly looking down at, they always have a good time making fun of her and her cooking because she is the manager.
From the looks of it, the cooking didn't look too terrible.
That's true.
Maybe it's not
Um,
just this
I'm
one
not really sure
level.
what they were trying to do there. I didn't know if they
Yeah.
wanted us to say like it's not bad, but they still hate it because they love to
Yeah.
complain, or was it actually bad?
I don't, it didn't look bad. Like, because at least the professor was not, like, the professor thought it was
But
fine.
you see, let's go to the professor.
Okay.
The professor was really kind to Mary throughout.
Yes. Yes.
He,
Ooh,
showed her the
yeah.
respect that she deserved. Even
Yes.
offered friendship, honestly. And
100%.
but because of Paul and Mary. It just hit me. Anyways, inside joke. But so
Paulina. Anywho's,
God.
continue.
Anyways, so um train of thought is gone.
Like, he was kind
Yeah.
to,
So so Paul's background we learn later is he started with like nothing. Like as in he did not grow up rich by any stretch of the imagination. He got a scholarship. He actually ran away from home, I think, got the scholarship,
yes.
and then studied at Barton. And then he went to Harvard after that. So
Mhm.
he was not one of them, one of the students. He was not alike them. And I think Paul, to the point, to 1970, 1971, he he really does appreciate anything that's given to him because that's how he grew up. And so I think there was this, when you think of Mr. Tully and all these other students that start with, born with privilege, born with the money, born with everything a kid could want, and then people like Paul that start from nothing,
Mhm.
and then so it's almost like the way that this story progressed was like it really took people on completely different sides of the spectrum and brought them closer and closer together to show the viewers how we're all the same at the end of the day. We
Yeah.
really just uncover the layers.
Yeah.
And so I think Paul was um the fact that he was appreciating the food that they couldn't even stand to eat, and he was like really eating it up, like he was really enjoying it, really shows like just the discrepancy in terms of not only how they dress, how they look, how they act, but even
Mm-hmm.
the food that they eat. It's we all we're all humans, same taste buds and all that kind of stuff, but he could enjoy it and they couldn't. And so regardless of whether or not the food was good, it really, I think the point that they wanted to bring across was the the lifestyle, the polarized lifestyles.
I have a take on that. Like,
Yeah.
that's a great point that I did not think about throughout the movie. Like, I don't know, obviously, to me, Paul's role in this was not that he was grounded and that like that was not what stood out to me. What I thought was emphasized is just how much he disliked the upper class and their power and their ability to manipulate situations that he liked, like he lived to humble them, if that makes sense. Like that's kind of the sentiment that I got.
Yeah. Yes.
He's like,
For sure.
well, yeah, you're not better than anyone, which is correct. But
Yeah.
then I think there is like an extremist like view that he developed of like, well, everything you do, you literally have to earn it from there. Like no leniency whatsoever in every aspect, be it like academic manners, like again, food wise, he's like, well, tuna, like that's too bad.
Mm.
You're gonna have to eat this and not like, not necessarily because he thought it was okay, but because he thought like if this is okay for the average person, you must be okay with it as well.
Yes. But on that note, we have to take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll
Cook
be
it.
right back. Welcome back, guys. All right. So we're going to pick up where we left off. We're actually going to push forward a little bit in the plot. Um, so we have our holdovers not cooperating with Mr. Hanem.
Mr. Paulina.
Well, yeah. And and so essentially I think, we're not going to unpack all the side characters, but we need to talk about this one kid who
Mhm.
um he simply is has not been picked up from school because he refuses to cut his hair.
Yeah, he actually
And
had really nice hair though. To be
I hated him. I also
really
don't like long hair.
okay, fair,
Yeah, like that,
fair.
It's not my anyways. So he was like, I know my dad was gonna buckle. I know he's gonna show up in a helicopter and pick me up. And they were like,
Mhm. Yeah, that's
well,
crazy.
he showed up in a helicopter. His dad did come in fact, in a helicopter.
Ooh, actually, something I wanted to mention is
So,
how stingy the school is, given that they house one of the richest like
mm,
sons in America. As soon as people, like most people, left for winter break, they cut off the food supply until the 1st of January.
yeah, and
They
then like they
cut
only
off the
increase in the
heaters.
freezer. Yeah.
Yes. And there was no like heating system,
Yeah.
like unless it was this specific area of the school. And I just wanted to mention that. That was like weird.
And they obviously, will be there through Christmas and New
Mm-hmm.
Year's. And
2 weeks.
they took the like school Christmas tree back. They
Yeah,
sold
they
it back
sold the
to the
Christmas
town
tree.
before Christmas.
Oh my
And so that
god.
just leaves the holdovers with no school spirit, no heat,
Nothing.
no
No
fresh food,
holiday spirit. Yeah,
no
no
spirit.
heating. Yeah, it was weird. But
Yeah.
anyways,
And
continue.
so essentially this guy's dad actually eventually shows up. Uh the kid convinces his dad to take all the holdovers to this ski trip that he was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mr. Hanum calls every single parent of all the holdovers that are remaining. Every parent answers the phone and gives them permission to go on this rich man ski trip,
Yeah.
except
Our
Mr.
guy.
Tully.
Our guy.
What does that mean? Mr. Tully and Mr. Paul are stuck with
In
Mary, of
school.
course, but they're
Yes.
stuck on campus.
Yep.
It can it get more depressing for Angus? Yes, but it was very depressing. So he So anyway, yeah, obviously, they were not happy with one another. Paul had them doing homework. He was encouraging them to get ahead. He was making them run
Yeah.
laps around the school in freezing temperatures where he could barely run 100-meter dash in. I don't know.
Yeah. No, Paul is like textbook, like, oh, like you have to go outside for like an hour and a half every day, like for your, mental health, physical, and then you have to read. Like he was straight up making them read history books, like
We also should mention he's a ancient history teacher, so
oh, he is.
he loves to
Talk about it, incorporate it.
reference like
Yes.
the Greeks used to do this and the
Yeah,
Romans
like all the
thought that
time.
da 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 da, and obviously that drives you crazy
In
because
the oddest
it's an
settings as
ancient
well.
civilization and that's not how it
Yeah.
works anymore.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah.
But again, like Mary mentioned, it's Tully and Mr. Paul and Mary, the school.
Hmm.
And so on their first night alone together, obviously Tully has had enough. He throws some kind of a tantrum. He swears at Mr. Paul. Kind
See,
of
this is the part where I'm like, is Mr. Tully even a good guy? Because
he is,
he
I
is
think
rebellious as hell.
he is rebellious, but I don't think like he just was frustrated. But to be fair, Mr. Paul is also not the
For
most
sure.
exciting. You know what
But
I'm
if I
saying?
had if you had Mr. Paul,
Mm-hmm.
you would not do the
Sick of
thing.
him. Like, come on, would you not be like obviously you wouldn't curse at
I would be
him,
sick of
but
him. I would be tired, might cuss him out,
yeah,
might threaten to leave.
exactly.
I would not make him chase me around campus.
I was gonna get there, bro. I laughed
I
so
would not do that. That was so entertaining. That's when things took a turn. That's when everything turned a little lighthearted because first everything was just looking down for Angus until that point. But anyways, again, every time you think is it going to get worse, it does get worse because he eventually runs into the gym
where he's not
where
supposed to
it's
be.
strictly off limits
Yeah.
and then runs up, does a nice little run up to the trampoline where
Mm-hmm.
he expects, as usually there is a nice fluffy pad waiting on the other
Yeah.
side. I think he does like a flip or something, but he bounced on the trampoline, does a flip, does not land on a pad because there are no pads. He lands
He
on the floor
dislocates his
and
shoulders.
dislocates his shoulder.
And he lets out this like grueling scream,
Phenomenal, yeah.
like insane. And initially, the viewers, as well as Mr. Paul, think it's like, oh, ha ha ha, you know what I'm saying? He's just joking. But then it just continues, and he gets up and he's crying. And he's
Yeah,
like,
it got really serious all of a sudden. And
it
like, Mr.
did.
Hunnam is on this like nobody's leaving campus, we're staying here.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada, yeah. So
Yeah.
they are like in a like frantically like in the car driving to the emergency room.
Hospital.
Mr.
Yeah.
Paul is like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my job, and then after I lose my job, then this, and then your dad is gonna call, and then your mom, and then he was like,
Blah, blah, blah.
I wish they called. I wish they cared
Yeah.
about me enough to engage in this.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna care.
And so they get to the hospital. They you
They
know,
relocate
they
shoulders.
yes, I love
Adjust.
that. I love that. They relocate his shoulder.
That was an interesting technique, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's when the first lie happens. So Angus
Mhm.
essentially lies for I mean, he's a serial liar in my opinion, but he
Yeah.
tells the nurse like he somehow convinces the nurse that like not to write it up, not to
Hmm.
actually have an official file for the visit to
Yeah.
for the sake of Paul.
Yeah.
And it works, but Paul is like, we're lying is bad and immoral, and the Greeks and
Yeah.
the
I
Romans.
mean, also part of it is because he didn't want his mom to find out so he wouldn't get kicked out of, well, she wouldn't remove him from the school.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from Paul's perspective,
Hmm. I
he
mean,
thought
didn't he
he did him a
tell
favor.
Paul? I mean, he was like, yeah, I don't want the school to find out, but also my mom might send me to military school. Did he not mention that?
If he gets expelled,
Yeah, I mean, or if she sees like, because she takes him out of school for misdemeanor or he just pulls out these crazy stunts all the
Stunts, yeah.
time, allegedly.
Possible win-win
We'll see.
situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyways, continue.
But essentially over time, Mary and Paul and Angus, it kind of turns into like an unlikely friendship. Like the three
Like
of them really bond
really well.
through their, I mean, they're all going through their own thing. So we don't really know at this point what Angus is going through.
Yeah.
Paul is lonely and bitter and very
He's
rigid in his
Paul.
ways.
Yeah.
And Mary is grieving her son. Um, and so
Well,
much thing is,
not
she
grieving, I'd
decided,
say. She's not grieving, and that's the problem. She's
hmm,
just acting like, okay, like it's
is that
another
is
day.
that part of grief or is that actively not grieving?
I think she was actively avoiding it
Mm,
during that period, yes.
mm.
And important thing, Tully tells Paul that his father is dead and his mom,
Yes.
yeah, recently
Yeah,
got
so
married.
they go to a party in town together.
Hmm.
And then Mary has a mental breakdown. She drinks too much, and
Yeah,
then things started
reminiscing.
resurfacing.
Yes.
And then yeah, tells both Paul and Mary that his father is dead.
Yeah.
So obviously we felt bad for him, as one
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course we felt terrible.
100%.
And what happens next? What are the
Also, we learned that Paul has not been with a woman in a very long time, and as in no romantic affiliations.
Mm.
And he was trying to be open to that with this school teacher that invited them to the Christmas party. And in the middle of what he thought was flirting and, kind of getting romantic with each other. And to be fair, she was kind of flirting with it. She gave him a kiss
I
on
thought
the
she was
cheek.
flirting.
Yeah, me too. Right?
I
Like the
thought she was flirting.
proximity.
I'm certain she doesn't do that with every teacher.
Okay, I don't know, but I was like, yeah, she's into him, and for the first time in a long time, I think he was open to it. And all of a sudden, she was like, "Oh, wait, like give me a sec." She gets up, and then she gives this other guy a full-blown kiss, and like
So
Mr.
sweet.
Paul just looks, and like the way he looks back was actually heartbreaking, don't you
You
think?
know, it wasn't I didn't see the face of heartbreak. I saw the face of like, here we go again.
Like,
Like,
yeah, kind of like, well, this is why I never try, kind of, you
yeah,
know
no,
what I'm
it was
saying?
like another one of the
Discouraged.
books. Yeah, very like hopeless.
Yeah, hopeless. Yes.
Hopeless, yeah.
Like, it would have never worked out for me
Yeah,
anyways,
it was
kind
like
of
disappointment.
like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. And then we go back to Mary having a mental breakdown in the kitchen, and she starts crying, and it's uncomfortable because nobody knows what to do, and she refuses to get any kind of help from anybody. So then they decide to leave the party and head back home where they cook a nice Christmas meal and um what is it? Then Mary confronts Paul about not being festive. And, Tully he's like, can we go to Boston? Can we like leave? Can we do XYZ? And Mr. Paul is obviously like, no, like according to the rule book, blah 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 blah. And Mary's like, can you just, you know,
Live a little.
like live a little. She's like, he's a kid who is abandoned by
Mhm.
his family to stay here. And on top of that, you're making him feel worse about being left here. Can you just like be human for a second?
Mhm.
And then obviously Mr. Paul was touched by that because the following morning before anybody got up, he goes, gets a Christmas tree, gets presents, and then lays it out for Mary and Tully.
But like very cookie cutter presents. Like he has
Hmm.
a box full of the same book, his favorite book, and he just wraps it and gives it to people. When he wants to give gifts. If he feels like giving a gift, that's the gift.
That's the
For
gift,
all.
yes.
He gave
Yes.
it to a whatever teenage troublemaker, and he gave it to a like
Head
30,
cook.
40 something cook.
Yes. That was funny. That was really funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyways, so eventually, like I feel like yeah, the point that we need to make is like the gap between Tully, Mary, and think of it like like a three-way thing. And Paul is so like the gap is closing as the
mhm.
runtime goes on. Honestly,
Yes. Yeah.
when you also when you see their weaknesses, it's not only the fact that they. I mean, they've had weaknesses from the beginning, but the vulnerability comes out, and since they're
Yeah.
forced to stay to be together, it's the visibility. It's not
Yes.
just having the problems
Yeah.
because we all have.
100%.
Everybody has the problem. It's the strength, and in this point they were all forced, but essentially it's the strength to be vulnerable that actually makes connections worth it, or
100%.
makes connections, to be honest. Otherwise they would just
Yeah.
be connections.
And they're like from different like
Yeah,
age range, like
different ages,
races or
different education levels,
yeah,
different mistakes, different
different
regrets, different
genders, all that.
families.
Yeah. And
But
it's I
because they
think
were being held over,
mhm,
they were forced to reveal their issues to one another. And
100%.
they became a little family,
Yeah,
and
it
they
was so
grew.
nice.
Everyone had a breakthrough.
They did. They
Yeah, so
really
I think
did.
that's I think the whole like being confined in one space. I think part of
Yeah.
like part of the message is talk about it. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Don't don't like
don't
hold it in.
suppress.
Yeah. It's not benefiting
Yeah,
anybody. It's just eating you alive.
it's eating you alive, and I mean
Yeah.
they all grew so much.
100%. No, I mean, which brings us to the next phase of the movie, which is Mr. Paul caves in
Mm-hmm.
and so he says yes to the trip to Boston. So all of them pack up and then make way to Boston, where they first have to drop off Mary at her sister's place, um, which was emotional,
Mm.
because so
They
she
were
has these.
separating, yeah.
They were separating, yes, but then so her sister is pregnant and she's expecting, yeah. So Mary has like her suitcase and this special box that she took her to her sister's place, and she's just sitting in the baby's room and she opens the drawers, like where they keep the baby's like stuff, clothes, whatever. And then she opens her little box that she brought with her, and it is what I'm assuming her son's
Mm-hmm.
baby clothes and like all of the baby things that he had. And the way she was
Oh, shoot.
caressing, yeah, she was
Oh, it was
caressing.
so cute.
Bro, I literally, but then,
The baby like dress shoes, like
I
the
know
leather.
they're so tiny. It's so adorable. But like, I was thinking at that moment, right? Like, her son was grown enough to go fight in the Vietnam War. He was an adult. And this woman saw him through how tiny he was. Like he was able to fit
Mm.
into those clothes up until he lost his life in the Vietnam War. And I just like to think you could even wake up the following morning. Like I don't know how it's like fathomable, like the intensity of the grief of just being like having this little human being and then they grow up and they're just not there anymore. Like how do you and her husband also passed away before her son was born. So it's just her and her son, basically.
Mm.
And it just made me think, I'm like, that requires an insane amount of strength because wow, crazy. It's crazy. Like,
Exclamation mark
yeah,
on
she
that.
was letting go, you know.
Mm, mm,
Good for
mm,
Mary.
mm,
She popped
mm.
off. But yeah, what do
No,
you think?
that was an immense, yeah.
Yeah.
exhibit of strength.
100%.
She chose the future, baby, over
Yes.
dwelling on the past.
Yes. Yes.
It's very difficult to,
To do that.
yes.
100%.
And even with pregnancy, it's like, there's still a possibility of loss.
Yeah.
What if this happens? What if that I mean, her son died at 19,
Yeah.
it's holding on to hope, knowing that
There's a better tomorrow.
there's a better tomorrow, but also knowing that you never know. But you
Mm-hmm.
still chose to be hopeful. A situation,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
very powerful stuff.
100%.
And leaning on your family, like,
Right? Yeah.
it was very
You
like, don't touch me, don't get close to me at school. And then when she was there, she was just all hugs and
Yeah.
yeah,
She was
yeah.
like letting go.
Mm,
She was allowing herself to be taken care of and
we,
be seen vulnerable.
we,
Yeah.
we.
But yes, so jumping to Tully and
And
Paulina,
Otto Paul, they're
Mhm.
having a great, wonderful, wonderful time.
Bonding
They
for
are
real.
going to museums. Tully
Mhm.
is like, and he's also very tall, very not, I mean, he's not supposed to be his age. He's because since he's been expelled so much, he's been
But
repeating
I thought he was still like 7. He's under 18 though.
possibly under
Because
21.
he's not under 18 because I remember him saying he got kicked out. That's why he was like, I'm still a junior. Like that's the reason why. But then when Paul and him were having a conversation about like, adult stuff, and then Paul was like, well, I can't tell you now. I'll tell you when you turn 18.
That's just true. That's true. That's true.
So I'm like, is he still
Perhaps
17?
17. Perhaps.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Anyways.
The math is not really mathing there.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, did I miss something? But
Yeah, but I
anyways.
do remember that. But
Yeah.
anyways, you lost me.
Oh, yeah, just Paul and him having fun at the
Oh yeah, they're having
museum.
a great time in
Yeah.
Boston. I mentioned his age because he just literally reverted into a child, and he was
Yeah.
like he was living his like I'm
He
talking
was.
about Tully,
Yeah.
living his childhood dreams. Um, we know that his dad wanted to take him there. Oh, I have air quotes going on right now. Um, but essentially, yeah, no, they're having a great time. They're doing all the experiences. Um, and then does the movie theater thing happen before or after he gets confronted with the Harvard guy?
Before.
Okay, so they're in the movie theater and they're watching a film,
No,
and
the
then
Harvard guy happens before the
oh,
movie.
the Harvard guy happens.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so let's just recall that Paul hates lies, or so he says. Like
Yes.
he really
Yes.
judges his students for not, abiding by honor codes and things like
Yeah.
that. So they bump into his classmate from Harvard, so bachelor's degree, and Paul starts pulling things out of his mind. He goes, "No, I'm an international
I
guy.
mean, for
Sometimes I'm in
context, the guy
London.
that he
Sometimes I'm
runs
in Antwerp,
into,
and I'm in yeah, like
yeah, but like he's a handsome former classmate with his wife, and he
are you
tells him,
justifying his life?
no, 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 no. I'm just saying, like, he is clearly intimidated.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
not intimidated, but
that's fair.
taken
That's
aback.
fair.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
guy has tenure at Harvard teaching statistics.
yeah,
Statistics.
and he's being humble, and it's his
Yeah,
wife
his wife is
really
like,
hyping him up.
oh, yeah, he
So
just
yeah,
got
it's a
tenure.
picture, very picture perfect.
Yeah,
Probably what Paul would have wanted for himself.
100%. Yeah.
But we
So
also don't
Paul,
know why Paul went back to Barton. I mean, he says that it was his home, and they made him who he is because that's how he really got educated and all that good stuff. But anyway, so he starts pulling up and in front of Tully and the wife and the
until
man.
he's take, he's like, but he rolls with it.
Yeah,
He
Tully.
claims
I thought
himself
she's a
as,
serial liar.
yeah, no,
Tully
he
just
loves it.
supports. Yeah.
His eyes were like lighting. He was like, wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
and he goes, yeah, and I'm cruising, I'm
Yeah,
not quoting him, but he's
I'm
like,
currently in
I'm
Antwerp.
living, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tully adds, and he's like, yeah, he's actually writing a book. Tell him about it. Tell him about it. He's like, oh yeah, and I'm his nephew, and and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I would have a heart attack personally.
The
I
straight
can't
up.
improvise like that. Yeah.
That was funny.
And so they do this back and forth, and then they create this like can't type
Narrative.
down image.
Yeah.
And suddenly the tables turn, and the Harvard guy is jealous of
Yeah.
Paul.
I think there's a mix of jealousy and also like he's like, what is going on? Um, he's like, oh, interesting. And then also like whenever he mentions like the title of the book and like all
I think
that.
the what is going on is coming from because he knows what happened to him when he was at Harvard.
Oh, I guess so. I guess he's like
Yeah,
he's impressed by
his
how well
comeback.
he's kept. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I guess so. Okay, continue.
and so we again, what Soli said, we do get this vibe of like, and Tully asks like, what does he mean? I'm happy you're back on your feet or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we find out that this perfect professor that sticks by all the rules actually did not finish at Harvard because he assaulted someone. But he assaulted his roommate. The someone is his roommate. But Paul claimed, and I believe Paul, but Paul
Yeah.
claims that his roommate accused him of plagiarizing when it was really the roommate that plagiarized off of Paul, and he
Mm-hmm.
reversed the accusations to save himself.
Yes.
And the other guy, he was like a legacy student, and so he had all these, he had the board behind him and all that kind of
Connections,
stuff,
power.
and so
Yeah.
he knew he didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
So he knocked him out. No, I'm saying he hit
What
him.
did
I don't know what he
Paulina
did.
do? Tell him.
What did he do again? He hit him, right?
He
Isn't
hit
that?
him with a car on the
Oh
bike.
yeah,
And he broke a few ribs. Nothing crazy. It's his
yeah,
fault because he was on the way,
yes,
right?
yes.
Um, and he
I
claimed it. He
didn't
was
like
like,
that. I wanted him to be like, yeah, I took a golf club and I swung it at him. That's what
yeah,
I wanted
no,
him to
the
say.
car.
But the car, I think he Paul claims it was an accident. Anyways,
Well, we all know it wasn't, but
yeah, and he makes it, and then he goes back to Barton, but it was the headmaster before the current headmaster was one of his Paul's teachers when he was at Barton, and he heard about this, and he knew his potential, and he gave him a chance, and so
mhm,
very few people on that planet knew about this, but
yeah,
Tully is now one of them, and he said I won't, and he was like, okay, let's keep pushing with the day. He trusted
yeah,
him immediately. Um,
100%. We all need people like that in our lives.
yeah, those that you can trust. Yeah, and so the
Yeah,
bond just really
he
kept
was
growing.
like, I believe you.
The meat of this really comes though from um this movie theater scene that I mentioned earlier,
Yes, yes.
where Mr. Tully just lies to Paul and says that he needs to use the bathroom and leaves. And at this point, they're like, besties, right? Um, and so Mr. Tully appears to be escaping. So at this point, the audience is like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, like this
he's
is
bamboozling
turntables.
him.
Yeah.
But Paul picks up on it, chases down the cab, realizes that he cusses him out, but then you just see Angus just in a different zone. Like he's not
Yeah.
in his usual smug. He's like, I'm coming back. I'll meet you at the hotel.
Yeah.
There's something I need to do. And then the
Yeah.
audience automatically thinks it's something to do with his dad. But eventually, something very unlike Paul goes with him to this place.
Yeah.
Really break the news to them.
Oh, goodness. So he's Paul, I mean, as they were at the cab, he's like, was this the entire point? Was this why you wanted to come to Boston? Like, did you have all this in mind? Did you just want me to trust you? And then Tully's like, I just want to go see my dad. And then Paul is just like kind of he's like, oh my God, like if you told me this from the beginning, we could have just went straight to the cemetery. Like you didn't have to, beat around the bush. And so it cuts to them in the cab arriving at not a cemetery, but like I don't know, like a what is it, like a facility
Yeah.
I don't know, for like people dealing with mental issues,
Yeah, like a mental
mental
facility.
institute. Yeah. Um, and so apparently Tully's dad is not dead. He's in this facility. And they bring out Tully's dad. Like Tully's just his face kind of just lights up when he sees his dad. He was so delighted to see him. He gives him a hug. The dad looks confused but seems to recognize Tully and reciprocates by giving him a hug back. They sit down and Tully's just like, "How have you been, Dad?" Like asking him all these questions, like, I've been, keeping my grades up. I'm scoring like the top 5% in the class. Yada, like
That
telling
was
him how
really emotional. Like
that
he
was so cute.
like his dad was not asking him questions. He was like
Yeah,
blank face just staring at him.
yeah.
And it's
He's trying to
just the
understand.
things that you're asked by a parent, like, how are your grades? Like, what
Yeah.
kid just like, oh my God, my grades? He
Yeah.
really was playing the role of the father and the son
Yeah,
because
100%.
he wanted to just cosplay that relationship as if
Yeah,
he was really pretending like his dad was asking him and pretending that he was interested.
100%.
When the guy had a straight face, like, I'm not really sure who you are, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Oh, I feel like one important thing that is we need to mention is when Tully and Paul were in the hotel. When
I was
Tully
gonna bring it up
Yeah,
afterwards.
okay, you wanna say it?
Yeah, so that part. Okay, wait. Let's finish this
Okay,
scene,
the
then
dad.
we'll talk about it
Okay.
again. Finish it.
So yeah, basically, Tully's going on and on about how he's improving and he's trying not to get expelled from school and, just like super excited to be near his dad, and his dad is just like, "Son, I need to tell you something." And Tully's just like, it seems like Tully's happy that his dad is even speaking. And his dad is like, "I think they're putting something in my food." And Tully's face immediately drops, like
Yeah, I mean,
heartbreak in
he
his
clearly
eyes.
wasn't listening.
Yeah, like
He
he was not digesting.
theories,
Yeah,
and like they're clearly giving you medication, bro. Yeah,
obviously, yeah, you're in a mental facility,
yeah.
it's part of the
He
the
doesn't know
thing.
where he is really what that statement,
hmm
gives.
The dad is not himself.
Yeah. Um,
But
go ahead.
continue to the hotel. I think that's an important
Yeah, so
context.
for me, I was saving this because this is I told you like these converging lines.
Yeah.
The gap closed to
Yeah.
delta equals 0 when so essentially they're in the hotel, Paul wakes up Mr. Tully's like, let's get our day started, another day of, touring
Boston.
Boston. And he takes Angus takes his toiletry bag, walks into the bathroom, and then something drops. And it's depression medication.
Yeah.
And he
So,
Angus is flustered, and then Paul gives it back to him.
yeah.
And then Paul turns around, goes into his own toiletry bag, and pulls out, I think it's like a different brand, but also depression
It's,
medication.
so it's like the same. So Paul picks up Tully's medication. It's called Librium, and he asks me, he's like, "Oh, Librium?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's for my like he makes it like for my headaches or something, like this other thing.
Yeah.
Those are my vitamins." That's what he says.
My vitamins,
My
yeah.
vitamins.
Like an
And
optional thing, yeah.
optional thing. He's like, "Yeah, just like I have to take them in the morning." And Paul's like, "Oh, okay." And then he turns around, opens his own toiletry bag, and another medication package with the like Librium written all over it. And at this point, we realize it's like a depression, like it's
Yeah.
depression medication. And Paul kind of has like a little smug smile of like understanding, right? He's like, "Oh." Like one of like, "Oh, it's not just me," but also like, you know what I'm saying? Like an understanding of Tully's kind of mental frame, if that
Mm,
makes sense. It's like, I'm suffering. I'm not alone, but also he's suffering. Like, I need to be more understanding towards him,
yeah.
kind of.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this just
Mhm.
hit me right now.
Yeah.
Tully's Librium was in liquid form, like injectable
No, no, I think it was all in like the little
pills?
yeah, pills, yeah.
Okay, never mind
Yeah,
then.
it was not liquid, but it was a smaller package
Okay.
than Paul's. Paul's was a little big. She was a little big. She a thick one. But not gonna discriminate based on how big or
Size
small.
of medical
Medication.
bottle, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, are you sure it wasn't a liquid thing?
No, it was I
Okay.
mean, that's what I thought. But yeah, what kind of difference would it make if it was
No,
liquid
because
versus
I know that Paul's were pills.
Oh yeah. It looked like those little orange containers that you get at the
I
pharmacy.
thought it was clear. Wait, now we have to make sure.
Okay. What the?
The holdovers. Anyways, the point that I was gonna make is, and again, this just hit me, so I wish I looked this up earlier, but it's almost like again, it's like we're all the same but different kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're all or I should
Yeah.
say, well, also this is kind of like a free plug, but there's a like a social media page and they have merch and they have these card games and stuff. And the tagline is we're not really strangers
Mm.
and we're all the same inside. And so this is a really similar theme to like, you know, Tully has this expensive injectable medication for
Yeah.
depression where um
Paul.
Paul has this jumbo size like supermarket pharmacy
Mm.
bottle of pills, but it's the same medication. It's almost like how we just like frame things differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really all the same inside. But anyways, look, I think we should check it out. Take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Yes.
All right.
Intermission.
Okay, we're back. Okay, during the break, I actually literally went back to the movie and checked. It was not an injectable thing. They were pills for sure. It was just Paul had a bigger bottle. So yeah, scratch that piece of insight, but that note for next time. We're gonna do a
Mm-hmm.
part two, or if anyone is being inspired by that, think about that. But anyway, so essentially, they wrapped up Boston. It was a little heartbreaking for Angus towards the end because his dad didn't turn out the way he wanted it to, but they went back to school, and then school started again, and then that leads us to that big final scene. So, tell us about it.
Yeah. So basically the principal finds out that well, he calls in for Paul into his office.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul enters the office, sees Tully's parents, and they're saying, "Hey, yeah, you said you went to a field trip in Boston," and Paul confirms, "Yeah, we did that." And they're like, "Then how the heck did Tully's dad get a hold of a snow globe, which could potentially be dangerous to him and people surrounding him because apparently he turned violent after a while." So
Mm-hmm.
Tully's explaining that to Paul as well. Like the dad initially was acting strange a few years ago, and then the mom took him to numerous hospitals and they got him on these pills, and that just like made the dad very confused. And then at the end, he kind of became violent, and that's when they decided to put him away in a facility. And basically, yeah, the parents were like, this could have been very dangerous to Tully's dad and people around him. So why did you do nothing about it? Like, why did you allow it to happen? And basically, the principal was saying to Paul, like, tell us if Tully made you do this. And that's all we
If
need from you.
Kelly
Just
like
tell us.
manipulated him, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, you
he
wouldn't
did.
expect this kind of stuff from Paul. Like you'd expect Tully actively manipulated the situation.
Yeah.
Um, but Paul just looks.
Which he did, by the way. We agree on that, right?
You think Tully manipulated Paul?
Yeah, Paul didn't know that he was gonna see his dad. He thought his dad was dead.
I don't think that's manipulation. I would not categorize it as such.
What
I
do you think
think,
he did to Paul?
I mean, manipulation in my, like, there's some level of deceitfulness behind it. Like, you want, like, a certain level of evilness. Like, there is some kind of evil. Like, in this case, Tully is just in his way grieving his family, or what was his family, what was his dad, versus, like, his dad almost doesn't exist. He's alive, but he's not there. You know how much harder that is? Like, when
I'm not saying it's not difficult. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, no, what I'm saying is, but it's
Yeah.
not manipulation. He just was not ready, I think, for himself to even accept that his dad is alive. He's just not his dad anymore.
So what do you think happened between
He
Paul
just,
and
I don't think it was anything harmful. He just wanted to see his dad. He's been begging his mom. His mom promised him,
Okay,
and he
but
just
answer the
wants.
question. What did
It's
he
not
do?
manipulation. He just wanted to go visit his dad. And he was not going to bring Paul into it, obviously. That's why he tried to escape, like, by himself and go back to the theater. He didn't want to
But
get Paul in
isn't
trouble.
isn't um Tully telling Paul, "Hey, I want to go to Boston because I've always wanted to go to Boston and no other reason." Isn't that?
He doesn't say that verbatim, but, like,
Yeah, but no, but
he's
he
like, I mean, he was like, I want to go to Boston. This little, like, school city is dead. There's no, you can't even ice skate here, which he did. Like, he went to visit museums, he went ice skating, he did all that jazz that he wanted. He told Paul he wanted to do. He just skipped out this very personal detail. And I won't fault him or call him a manipulator just because he did that.
let me Google the definition of manipulation for you, okay?
Yeah. But there is some kind of, like, evil intent behind it.
No,
To manipulate.
I can manipulate you to go to the gym.
But, like, but
It's that's
you're
good.
like,
That's good for you, but I can manipulate you.
I don't think that's the right. I don't
I
know.
can
Like,
manipulate you into
wait, let's look up the
okay,
definition.
it is
Yeah.
to is handle or control
Mm-hmm.
is what it is, typically in a skillful
Uh,
manner. Control
no.
or influence
Mm-hmm.
cleverly,
Mm.
unfairly, or
Mm.
unscrupulously.
These are all kind of like negative words to me, except cleverly, like
Influence.
unfairly.
No, it's or cleverly or unfairly or un whatever.
Okay, so there's both two sides to it.
He
Like, yeah.
he controlled and influenced him.
He he influenced his actions to go to Boston.
Yeah.
Yes, but the thing is, it wasn't 100%, like, he did 80% of the things he wanted to do, but also, like, he also went and visited his dad. I don't know. I don't know. Let's leave, audience, leave your thoughts, your impressions about this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good
Anywho's,
one.
I
That's a
wouldn't
good
call
one.
it manipulation.
Okay.
That's not my take, but marinara
Okay,
sauce
that's
thinks
cool.
other.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, keep going.
okay, yeah.
So
Anyway,
they asked Paul, did he
mhm,
manipulate you? Or okay, let's not use the word manipulate. Did he influence you into taking him there,
yeah,
knowing that
yes,
going to visit his father?
yes, yeah.
And yeah, because part of the reason why his mom was upset was not just about the snow globe, but also because now his father wants to be transferred. And his
He was
sister
really
doesn't,
triggered.
yeah, and it's really difficult to find a place that will take an aggressive person.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, keep going.
Mhm. And Paul looks them in the eye. He takes a second and is like, it was actually my idea. He was like, you left the child during the holiday season. Obviously, he
Yeah.
wanted to go to a parent. He wanted to be around family. So it was my idea. And I commend him. Like he did amazing.
Yeah.
I wish he did. I wish he grabbed something and broke it and was like, that is you're selfish as a parent for leaving your son who is clearly hurting to go on some kind of extravagant. And by the way, the stepdad also seemed like a rude person,
Hmm.
might I add. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I mean, I knew he was rude from the beginning of the movie because
The
he
stepdad
decided that he agreed or came up with the idea that it would be a great idea to go for a honeymoon
during that time.
during the kids' winter
Mhm.
break.
Yeah, yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Um, but yeah, the dad was like, yeah, this is why we should send him to this military school. Like he'll at least make use of
He's
like
just
his
trying to get rid of
tactics.
him. This actually
He
reminds me
is
of the Cat in the Hat, honestly. Yeah,
literally.
very Cat in the Hat vibes where he's like ready to ship him off,
Yeah,
wants him to get out of his mom's life. His,
100%.
yeah, very stepdad
Yeah.
energy, honestly.
Yeah,
Big
no,
to
very
being
much.
evil stepdad energy.
100%.
Yes.
Not the dad that stepped up, the stepdad. Mic drop.
I've never heard that one before, to be honest. So
The dad that stepped up?
never heard that one before.
Oh my God.
So it hit. It hit.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, that's basically Paul and everybody's taken aback. They're like, "What?
Yep.
Like, are you sure?"
So this precious thing that the honor code, and he even like risked funding from a senator because he didn't want to give his
Student, like the passing
unsuccessful
grade.
student
Mhm.
a C minus, like a passing grade. And
Yeah,
so he was like such a by the book person, as we've described this entire
yeah,
episode. And then he decided to sacrifice himself and
yeah.
risk everything, despite the fact that we now know he doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. He's an
Yes,
academic, and
100%.
risks it all for Telly.
That was very heartwarming.
That was very heartwarming.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously he was fired immediately. I mean, they were just looking for a reason to fire him anyways.
yeah, yeah.
Tully was able to stay at the school.
Hmm.
I saw online though that people were a little bit unhappy with the ending. Like they wanted a little more, they wanted a prettier, neater ribbon.
I think the ending was perfect. I mean, do you want to go over the ending?
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with the end. I mean, I definitely felt the
Close.
imperfection, but I don't
Really?
think it was an imperfect imperfection. Do you like
I felt like it was good closure.
you know, it was realistic.
Yeah,
It was realistic.
yeah.
So essentially, yeah, I mean, Paul packed his stuff up and put it in the back of a U-Haul or whatever was the equivalent of a
Mhm.
U-Haul at the time, a little truck. And then Mr. Tully came by, thanked him. He said, "I'll see you around."
Got
Oh no, Mr.
teary-eyed.
Tully said, "No, yeah." He was like, "Can we? You want to go into town and like grab a beer?"
Hmm.
And Paul said, "No."
He was like, even though you're fired and nobody's gonna, blame
Yeah,
you for it. And he was like, yeah, still
I
no.
think that picture perfect. And this kind of, guys, don't kill me in the comments here, but it brings me back to Game of Thrones, where it's like
Oh,
it was a realistic ending. Like
hot
it was an
take.
ending that
Needed to happen?
made sense. Like this picture perfect thing would be like, he graduates and they show Paul at Tully's graduation, and then they go and they start a school together for troubled boys, and all of this, they both get
What kind
married,
of blogs have you been reading?
all of this, this 80s, 70s, 80s, picket fence stuff, right? But that didn't happen. We don't know if they ever see each other again. We don't know if they ever hear of one another again. We don't know where Paul goes. We don't know what Paul wants to do with his life.
But there's like
He
implications.
doesn't have a home. He lived in the school.
Yeah.
And so there are all these unanswered questions, which again, I'm not saying is bad, but I do acknowledge that they left us with a lot of questions.
question is like, again, the point of the movie from beginning to end is just showing how empathetic can two people from completely different mindset, like different positions in life, even come together, who
Yeah.
almost actively hate each other. And at the end, as they're saying their goodbyes, Paula's like, stay strong, okay? And then Tully's like, tear-eyed. He's like, oh my God. And he's like, you too. And Paul also gets like tear-eyed. And it's like, that was the point. It was never about their future. It was never about their past. It was always about, can these people empathize, like be empathetic towards each other, see each other for who they are, and then maybe see a part of themselves in each other. And that's exactly what happened at the end, you know? Tully saw himself in Paul, Paul saw himself in Tully, and they're just humans who needed to be strong to kind of break this toxic cycle they were in. And that was like a nice beginning of like a new life for them. And that is the ending. That is the entire point of the movie. Not about the like Tully graduating and not about Paul like being this popular professor. It's about breaking these cycles that have been eating them alive for a little too long. And that's it. Like I think that
I
was
really loved that.
yeah.
And I know how strange this may sound,
Yeah.
but I'm really drawing a lot of lines between this and Game of Thrones.
I
Like,
haven't watched Game of Thrones though. Okay,
yeah,
like
but I'm really seeing like this was never about happy endings. From season one,
yeah.
our hearts were breaking. They were killing our
Mm,
favorite people from the
uh-huh.
start. Why do we expect some kind of like a
Happy
bouquet of
ending.
roses at the end?
Yeah.
And it's like the point is okay, like at the end we had this break of cycles.
Yeah.
No more kings and monarchies.
Hmm.
We have elected officials, and so some good did come out of it,
Yeah.
but it's not about the flower bed at the end. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like Paul is homeless at the end. Paul is probably like,
But
you know what I
how would
mean?
you know?
But
Nobody's
also, it's supposed to be. It is a good end. Like it's a positive ending to the storyline. I feel like we need to separate investment in characters and investment in storyline.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And so if you
Yeah.
invest in the characters, the people
Yeah.
that are obsessed with Paul are going to be like, where is his income coming from?
Yeah.
Where's his
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
meal coming from? Da 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 da. But storyline wise, we got it. We
Yeah.
we we achieved it. So it's important
Yeah.
not to obsess with the characters, just their arcs, and to think about what were the writers, producers really trying to put across here,
Yeah.
and leave it there sometimes.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. It was a heartwarming movie.
it was such a nice movie.
It was,
It
yeah.
was so pleasant.
It was.
Uh, it was so good. It really was. It was also kind of a coming of age movie, I think I could say.
I think it is. Yes, you're correct.
I feel like you can everybody can see a little piece of themselves in these characters.
2,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice to know that, I mean, the fact that, like this whole unlikely friends thing, like even when you think like Lion King, like Pumbaa and Timon, doesn't that
Yeah.
just make you hopeful just thinking about them? How much they love
Mm,
each other when they're so like the complete
so
opposites of
different.
one another. Not
Yeah.
personality wise, but like food chain wise and
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
territory wise.
Yeah.
And it's just there's something about, when two alike people become friends, it's
Yeah.
like okay,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just hopeful when something good comes out of something that is
People
like,
from different
almost against you,
spectrums.
like defying the odds.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was just that, I think that's what makes it such a feel good movie.
100%. No, 100%. It was a very well-rounded movie.
Yeah.
Everybody can, like you said, can find a piece of themselves in each character.
Yeah.
And highly recommend, not just for the holiday seasons, but in
No,
general.
seriously. Like it's going
Yeah.
to be, I'm so happy it is free on Prime. Like it is a Prime movie.
Yeah,
I
right?
don't have to rent
Yeah.
it or buy it because I will be revisiting this movie
Yes, yes.
on days that you just need it's also a little bit funny, I want to say, because like especially at
It
the
is.
start
Yeah.
when Paul was being himself, his quintessential self,
Yeah.
and like roasting the students. Like my brother and I were talking about it like yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like, one of the students was like, because he got like an F or something, and he was like,
Yeah.
what did he say? He was like,
How am I gonna go to Cornell with this, right?
yeah, and then he was like, unlikely or something
Yeah.
like so blunt.
Yeah, yeah.
And, so no, it's I like what he said. Well
Yeah.
rounded.
Yes.
Highly recommend. It's going to be a favorite, and so
Mm.
I'm
Are
glad
you gonna
that.
do your ratings for this?
Okay, let me think about it.
Okay, so
Head to
again,
the feels meter. Okay,
on a scale of 1 to 100,
yeah,
correct?
zero to 100. You can give it
Okay.
a.
Um, I think I have a number.
Me too.
I also feel that it's unlikely that it's gonna be the same this time around, but
No, let's say let's give ourselves a margin of error of 2%.
yeah, 2%.
Yeah, to say that
Okay.
we're in the same.
Okay. So out of 100,
Yes.
3,
Two,
2, 1,
one,
92.
89.
Okay, okay.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
originally had 88, but then I was like, actually,
I was
96.
between 88 and 89. I was like,
That's crazy.
89. Yeah, I like 89.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, 92. Okay, no. Yeah, it was
It
a
was kind of
solid
pretty good.
movie.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a solid movie, yeah.
She was good, yeah.
Okay.
So we want to jump to the questions.
We can jump to the questions, but I feel like I need to make a comment. And
Oh, please.
you're being strangely very
Energetic?
no. You're being strangely very partial, very sympathetic towards Mr. Tully.
Ooh, whoa.
Yeah.
I I am, I think. I feel like again, you see, not necessarily I see myself, but I
Yeah.
feel like,
I wouldn't really.
yeah, not
That's why,
myself,
like,
but
if it
like,
was obvious, I would have figured it out. I haven't figured it out yet.
yeah, no. He's just, I see him as this suffering kid that
Yeah.
is begging for some kind of understanding from his family, his mom, his
Mm,
dad. And none of the immediate like comfort figures in his life are present for
mm,
one reason or another. And
mm.
he has to rely on Paul, which is, I mean, for
Like
lack of a
like
better
bottom
word,
shelf. Yeah.
literally, he's like, oh my god, like this is, and he's fighting, he's taking depression medications at like what, 17 or something,
Yeah.
and he's trying his best, he's trying to get good grades to make his dad happy, even though he doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like in his own little way, he's trying to be better, but also suffering at the same time. And I feel like that I just found myself very empathetic to him. And I mean, most of the characters alike, but like I don't see his wittiness or like his him being in like a smart mouth like as like a, you know, him being this like negative character, but more so like he needs to talk to someone. He even
Mm,
has a shrink and all that. Like he's
mm,
getting like the professional help, but
mm,
emotionally, I don't think he felt comfortable or he felt like, you know, when you can tell someone as a child they like got abandoned a lot and so they resort to like other, like, you know, they're either they become bullies or,
mm,
you know what I'm saying? Like you can tell as a child he needed a lot more than what he got. And as an adult, he's kind of just like he's trying to hold it together, but also he's like angry at the world. And you know, he's like, "You promised me this, but it's not happening, and my dad isn't." Like, you know what I'm saying? It must be very
mm.
conflicting. So
No, he is, yeah, again, they're really trying to show how privileged the kids are and
yeah,
how they have it all, everything
hmm,
at the tip of their
yeah,
fingertips.
exactly.
And he just wants fundamental human, just basic needs.
Exactly.
He's very
Exactly.
basic. I don't even know if he feels safe, let alone
Yeah.
anything else, let alone love or anything. So,
Yeah.
um, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But
Yeah.
Mr. Tully really represented the he was really both. Like he was like the epitome of, he literally was gonna about go to an exotic island that most people have
Yeah.
never been to
Hmm.
like abandon on Christmas. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
In the
Yeah.
in like a 5-minute phone call.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, writing so good. So
Yeah.
so so good.
Yeah.
I would love to
But
have another discussion question. I'm kind
let's
of
do
running
it.
running on low on time though.
Yeah, we are. How many minutes do we have?
I can't tell exactly how many, but I know we're counting down here.
Okay, then let's make it like what's it called? A fire round?
Rapid
Huh?
fire.
Rapid fire
Okay,
round.
let's
Yeah.
go rapid fire.
Okay, we have like 20 minutes, around like 15 minutes left.
15?
Yeah.
All right.
Hmm. But yeah, let's make a like a quick one.
Okay.
Quick snack. We open questions. Do, do, do. Ba-da-da-da. Okay. Okay. Okie dokes. Okay, first question. So we're just gonna go over themes and then the questions. So we discover a lot of loneliness and connection throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think we often overlook loneliness in people who seem strong or independent?
2,000,000%. Like my friend Tony always
That's
says, 2,000,000. I think yes, obviously the answer is yes. I think that, we rarely look beyond the surface when it comes to reading people. I think you really need to spend a lot of time with people, and you kind of have to be a certain type of person to be curious. You either
Yes.
have to be curious, which many people aren't, or you have to be literally stuck in a room together like the people in the holdovers in order to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
There aren't that many avenues, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But I think we're as human beings, I think we're so self-centered, we rarely
Look to
look
others.
deeper into what other people show.
Yeah, 100%.
People are busy, but not only are people busy, but they're also, again, focusing on themselves.
Hmm.
And so we don't really, yeah, but we should. And
I
more
agree.
more more importantly, instead of talking about people, how people are perceived, those that aren't doing well under the surface need to take it upon themselves to help themselves, I think. And I'm not saying it's easy by any stretch of the
Yeah.
imagination, but I think it's more important that instead of them being discovered, like Mr. Tully, they need to find avenues to release it themselves or share themselves.
I'm with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it always seems hard until you take the first step and then you're like,
Yes.
why did I
But
not
it's
do
hard.
this?
It's extremely
Yeah,
difficult.
it
Extremely
is.
difficult. Yeah.
It is. Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you just never know who feels lonely. And oftentimes it's the people who you think have it all figured out. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, they have this or that and blah blah blah. And then they go to an empty home. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Just be empathetic.
Be empathetic.
And when you
Empathy.
see somebody act like odd, you know what I'm saying? Like, be
Yeah.
like, well,
Or
maybe they're.
too perfect. Let's unpack that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Again, two ends of the spectrum here, right? You're
Yeah.
like very like, strange.
Mm-hmm.
Check in on them. You know,
100%.
I used to, again, going back to we're not really strangers. I
Mm.
used to have a mug that had like things that you should do in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was actually, I think I still have the mug, but one of them was like, is it like share love with one person or something? I'm like, you want me to do that every
Oh.
day? What the hell? Like, this is
That's
really a
so nice.
recommendation to do something a daily.
Yeah.
It's like, there just, sometimes you just get a text and it
Yeah.
changes everything.
It does. It
Or
does.
you just
Correct.
get like, all it takes is a text sometimes.
It really is. Yeah.
And so it's like, now I'm feeling I'm more encouraged to do it, even though sometimes I'm like, every day is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, you never know. It's like, even if they're fine, it's a nice, it's
But
a friendly thing. You're growing your connection.
yeah,
In the event that they need it, and it literally costs you nothing, it's something, yeah,
that would be nice. Yeah, 100%. I'm with you,
yeah,
Marinara.
yeah.
You ate that, sis.
Thanks, man.
Okay, then that kind of takes us to grief and healing. Mary carries deep grief for her son, while Angus, Tully, deals
Mm-hmm.
with abandonment. Exactly. How do they navigate their losses differently? Hmm.
Mm. Do you have any thoughts? You want to jump in?
I think Mary does it by actively ignoring until she has to deal with
Mm.
it.
We
So
also didn't mention how much Mary drinks. She drinks
she
a
does,
lot.
she loves her alcohol.
She
One thing
does
about
drink a
Mary,
lot.
she loves her
Yeah.
alcohol. Um, yeah.
Something about
And
Mary though,
uh-huh.
she does accept her fortune. Like she does realize how different she is from everyone else and how
Mm,
her son was never like the other boys.
yeah.
And she openly talks about it.
Yeah.
So, but there is some acceptance there or some realization, but actually processing that he's gone, it didn't happen till later in the movie.
Yeah.
But Angus, I don't even know about it. Like
Angus does it by acting out, I think.
yeah, tantrums,
Yeah.
stunts,
Yeah, like
riling other people up,
exactly.
and he's quick with it too.
He's a smart man, like you
He's
mentioned.
quick with it too. Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
So yeah, I think it's like almost partially like numbing versus misdirected emotions and into
Mm.
other actions. Yeah.
I think there's a level of hatred towards the rich between like that both Angus and Mary again,
Mm.
like when I expand on it, Angus, I don't think he was formerly as wealthy. Like I think his family got wealthy once his mom married his stepdad, but before
Mm.
then I don't think they were like because again he refers to like his mom's new
Mm.
husband as like, yeah, she married this rich guy. If you're previously rich, you'd never say this rich guy, you'd say like, yeah, this guy. So there's a level of like Angus being introduced to this new level of like society, and he hates everything because everybody else's lives are relatively more perfect. Like they grew up rich, they have a united family, no one's kind of dealing with exactly what Angus is dealing with. So he's angry at like the way the world works and angry at rich people again because of his stepdad. And because he can control almost everything with his money. And Mary again sees, her son who is the same age as all of these other boys, but he had to go fight at the Vietnam War to get free
Because he couldn't
education in college.
afford college. Yeah.
Exactly. And so there's also a level of like, despise she feels towards like these kids that she's making food for, and they're complaining. They're like, "Oh my God, this food!" And she's like, "My son had to go
Mm.
fight in a war to even potentially get a college like
Mm.
scholarship." And I think they kind of have that in common of like it kind of stems from like a little bit of despise towards like the upper class, like these very comfortable people. So I think they kind of have that in common. What are your thoughts?
I didn't really think about his rich status.
Right? I don't think they
But
emphasize it too.
that would make a lot of sense. And yeah,
Right?
I mean, Mary's resentment towards the rich is apparent from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I do see how Angus's fits into that. I didn't really think about that,
A
but
little bit. Yeah. No,
I
I don't
do
think
I
it's
do like that. I like what you said.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, want to step to the next question?
Okay, last one.
Okay. Ooh, the holiday setting. How does
Mm.
the winter holiday backdrop enhance the film's themes? Would the story feel different if set at another time of the year? Ooh, this is a good one.
I think
Continue.
it's true because actually, so I'm just gonna go extremes. I'm thinking winter and summer here.
Mm-hmm.
I think winter and summer. I think winter is just known, especially in the like whatever the Western world.
Yeah,
It's known for like that's actually sometimes the only time you see your family.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so definitely exacerbated by the season.
Yeah.
I was thinking, summer is also kind of when you're like
I mean, but winter
not
is
supposed
like,
to be confined. That's
yeah.
also maybe traveling time. That's also as for high school students especially, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a time when, and that's like your long break.
yeah.
So it would be bad to be held over a long break. And that's when you're
True.
supposed to be not only traveling, but because like when I think winter, I don't think travel, but I do think family.
100%, 100%. I'm
And
with
so
you.
I think I mean, summer could have worked also, but it wouldn't hit the family symbol really hard, but probably the like, oh, I have to stay here when summer is the time we're supposed to really explore. What do you think?
I agree with everything you said. I think also, I think winter, again,
So there's like the winter blues, right? Like
Mm,
everything is dying, and kind of like the only light in your life is
mm,
spending time with family. Like that's kind of like you're cozied up by the fire, watching movies or playing Christmas songs and laughing and kiki kakaing with like your close ones. In the summer, like at least the temperature is not affecting your mood actively.
mm.
So I think
And yeah, the sunlight it's a huge one.
it is it's
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah, yeah. Regardless of holdovers and all that.
And yeah, when
We
if you know
like
you
sunlight. Yeah.
yeah. So I think it being during the holiday season, during the one big holiday season where everybody's with their family, Christmas and New Year's, it kind of like took it up a notch of like, wow, this is extremely lonely. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't see your family for the entire year, you will see them either during Christmas or New Year's. Like
Hmm.
everybody agrees on that. So it was very important and a very great choice to emphasize just how lonely it must have felt for all three individuals.
Yeah,
And
it's hard. I mean, it's true, but I don't really feel like it's a Christmas movie, but it's
Mhm.
a movie during Christmas time. Like it's set in December.
It is not, yeah, it's not like it's
It
definitely not
doesn't
a winter
feel like a
movie.
Christmas movie to
Yeah,
me,
I
you
think it's
know?
yeah,
It's a winter movie.
it's almost like you said, exactly.
Yeah,
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 she was a good one.
for
And
sure.
so, audience, with that, we conclude our second episode.
Yep. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, highly recommend this movie.
Yes.
Please stay tuned for episode 3, and we hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed this one. And we'll see you next time. Please continue to give us recommendations, continue to give us feedback. The link is in the description. And don't hold back. We can take it.
Yeah. Hey, bye everyone.
All right. Bye.
See you next time.